This is the #1 most difficult thing that I see modern women today struggling with.
I almost lost my husband for the lack of respect that I showed him in our relationship. I grew up around women who I believed were not respectful towards men. But as a woman, I've also learned that we can't come into a relationship with a man and do it based on even what we feel like we've healed from or what we've learned from past relationships. We have to really take the time to listen to that man, to truly understand what he desires and what his image of something is, instead of taking it offensively as well, what we do is not good enough.
But for all of my G's that are actively considering if she is the correct one, if she's not teachable, not coachable, unaccountable, and deflects as if it's her middle name, she ain't the one, chief. I profess to you guys today one of my guilty pleasures, all right, which is watching, finding, compiling videos across the internet of women either holding other women accountable or women teaching other women, educating them on how to remove the damaging feminist, modern feminist programming from their code in an attempt to get better results in their life when it refers to a man. Yeah, and I know some of my G's on the channel are saying, MTR, this content doesn't exist, shut up. And for that I say, well, I just compiled a bunch of it for you. So we're going to sit back, listen, watch, and enjoy the soothing sounds of femininity, the enriching noise of women correctly portraying how to respect men. Oh, it's music to my ears. So without further ado.
So here's the thing, right? This is a PSA for modern women out here.
Okay.
Y'all, stop arguing with that man and being combative because he checking you on things that need to be corrected. That's what a man's supposed to do. That's what a man does when he actually cares about you and wants you to be in his life and is serious about you. He don't play about you.
I love the reframing.
Stop looking at it as a attack and become defensive, and then want to become combative, and then want to start deflecting.
Yep, moving the goalpost.
I'm just here to tell y'all that if a man corrects you, it's because he actually really bang with you, right?
This is a fact.
If he's not correcting you, you should be very concerned.
Yeah.
If he's just letting you do whatever you want to do, he don't like you like that.
True.
I promise you.
Big true.
He don't like you like that. So I'm going to be the woman to tell you, let that man correct you in peace. Stop arguing with that man and being combative with that man.
She preaching.
And anytime you want to argue and be combative, I just want you to take your hand and pop yourself just like that.
Do it to yourself. A woman that has mastered the art of reframe, of her natural inclination to become defensive when held accountable. A woman that has learned how to do that is worth her weight in gold. I said it here. This is the #1 most difficult thing that I see modern women today struggling with. But I love her reframe of it because she's right. If he didn't care, or if you were just butt, he would let you do your damn thing. Allow you to make your mistakes, but perhaps he's considering your current decisions as an indictment on your future decisions going into the future. And he's saying, if I don't correct this shit now, then this is gonna rear its ugly little head in a multitude of ways in the future. Most women today, or let me say most modern women today, do not want correction. They want to be unruly. And for those women, I tell my G's, keep them out on the streets from where they belong. But for all of my G's that are actively considering if she is the correct one, if she's not teachable, not coachable, unaccountable, and deflects as if it's her middle name, she ain't the one, chief.
Ladies, stop being so hard-headed at times when your man is trying to tell you things. Like, at times we think that a man is controlling us when he's trying to tell us something because he can see something better than we can. For instance, your man will tell you, hey, stop arguing with them people, stop communicating with them people, stop talking to them, because he looks at you on a higher level. The problem is that they're nothing compared to you. So when he's trying to tell you things like, oh, stop doing this and stop doing that, it's not because he's controlling you. It's because he looks at you like, man, you up here and they're down here. Like, they don't even compare to you. So as women, we have to take a step back and say, maybe my man is right. Like, maybe he does see something that I can't see, because I'll be completely honest, men have a much better perspective of things than women do. Men know when something is bullshit immediately, and we as women, we can't catch that. So take a step back, listen to your man. It's okay.
I almost lost my husband for the lack of respect that I showed him in our relationship. I grew up around women who I believed were not respectful towards men. They got loud, always were fighting. And for me, I always said I would never do that to my spouse. When I got married to Vincent, I worked very hard to make sure I never did those things. And in my mind, that correlated as I respect him. And it wasn't until we kept arguing and we kept fighting, and the one thing that he would bring up is say, you don't respect me. And in my mind, I'm like, but I do respect you. Like, I thank him for his grace and his patience with me as I have learned, and I am still learning what respect look like. But as a woman, I've also learned that we can't come into a relationship with a man and do it based on even what we feel like we've healed from or what we've learned from past relationships. We have to really take the time to listen to that man, to truly understand what he desires and what his image of something is, instead of taking it offensively as, well, what we do is not good enough. A lot of men who are emotionally intelligent know what they want. They just have to feel and understand that we come from a humble place and we care about learning what something looks like to them. And if that man truly sees you as his purpose partner, he will be empathetic to the skills that you have not yet attained, and he will help cultivate you and grow into the woman that you and he desires.
Peep the accountability here, all right? And it's growth through accountability, right? She grew up around disrespectful, demon serpent tongue-like women, watched them treat men in and around her life disrespectfully, and said, I don't want to do that. She accumulated what she thought respect was, and then took that into her relationship, took that into her marriage, without a formal understanding of how to truly respect a man. But she's right, though. Respect can show up varied ways. There's some objective ways to respect a man, but then every man is going to have some subjective ways depending upon who they are. But objectively, you can't go wrong with keeping feminine, keeping your body right, nourishing our bodies, and keeping it peaceful. All of those accumulate respect. Most women don't understand that allowing yourself to gain 20, 30, 40 pounds, and I'm not talking about during a pregnancy, but just in general, is seen by most masculine men as a sign of disrespect. How am I going to be working this hard in my place of business, day in and day out, to be able to support this entire family while you get lazy with the upkeep of your own body?
So if your husband tells you, I feel like you don't appreciate me, I feel like nothing that I do is ever good enough, and you say, what? You don't feel appreciated? Well, I clean the dishes, and every day I come home and I have to deal with the laundry, and I'm cleaning up after everybody, and then not to mention I have to cook 3 meals, and then I have to pick the kids up, and then I have to do this.
Deflection.
You're wrong.
You're dead wrong.
You're wrong, girl. And it's not that what you're saying is not valid. It's not that what you're saying should not be addressed. But we have to stop making it a habit of when our husband comes to us with his grievances or with his feelings, his emotions, and the things that he needs to lay out, we immediately deflect. And we make it about us. And that's wrong.
That's called not being accountable. That's what that is. Dead wrong. You bring up the one specific thing that the ball was dropped on, and they bring up all of the other places that they do things, or they bring up something from a month or a year ago that ain't got nothing to do with the situation that paints you in a bad light. That shit toxic as hell, all right?
It's wrong, because then what happens, or what he's expected to do, is to put what he started this conversation with, mind you.
It goes somewhere else.
He started the conversation and he said what he needed to say. And then we now are putting him in a position where he has to put his stuff on the shelf. Yeah. While we unpack deal with our deflection, and while we unpack what now is suddenly a front seat, even though we hadn't said those things before. Yep. So it's not to say that those things are wrong. It's not to say that your feelings are invalid. It's not to say that your feelings shouldn't be discussed. But what has happened there is that you took your comprehension and you threw it out the window. Yep. Okay. And what you did was you jumped to, he said that he don't feel unappreciated. Let's play a game. And instead of listening to what he said, he just said, I feel unappreciated. He didn't say, I don't value you for doing the things that you do. He didn't say you're not doing enough. Okay, because I think we conflate the two. We say, if he feels unappreciated, it must mean that he thinks I'm not doing enough. When we think about the word and what that means, what he's saying is it would help if you said thank you every now and then. It would help if maybe you showed him that you cared about the things that he is doing, instead of using every opportunity that he comes to bring this up to you as a chance to throw back at him what you are doing. Because if he says that he feels unappreciated, all he's needing is for you to give him some verbal affirmation, and maybe some other things, right? Maybe he wants a little bit more affection. Maybe he wants you to just acknowledge that he's doing these things in the same way that we want to be acknowledged, in the same ways that we want to be understood, in the same ways that we're like, I want you to bring me flowers on a random Thursday. Sometimes he just wants you to acknowledge him. Sometimes he just wants you to call him handsome on a random Tuesday. Sometimes he wants you to say, babe, you're doing a good job. Because what we tend to do, and I'm not saying all women do this, but we do have a tendency to feel like I'm doing more, so I should be appreciated. And if it weren't for me, and I don't blame, it's not your fault. Society is telling you that, the feminist movement is telling you that you don't need a man. It's telling you that you can do it all on your own. And the truth is, both parties can do it on their own. Your husband was fine before he met you, and you were doing fine before you met him. But now two became one. And we have no business sitting in here going tit for tat like this. So we have to learn how, and it's not just if your husband says he feels unappreciated, it's anything that he says to you. If he says anything that he brings up as a grievance, you have to fight for your life to not deflect and make that conversation about you. Because again, what happens is we do that. We do it repeatedly, and then we find ourselves saying, he doesn't tell me anything. He never talks to me.
Because then when things do happen, the man has to make the bargaining of, do I address this right now and deal with the bullshit that's going to come after it when all I want is peace? Or do I just ignore it, achieve the peace, knowing that the peace is only going to be short term until it happens again? And historically, men have done too good of a job of prioritizing short-term peace over long-term peace. Don't believe me? Look at who divorces who the most.
Would you open up to you? Would you go and talk to somebody every time you went to that person for advice, they started talking about themselves?
Crazy.
Or every time you went to that person to tell them how you felt, they started talking about their feelings? Of course not. You would call them a bad friend, and you would stop calling them. So stop doing that to your husband, friend. Be patient. Again, you can air out your grievances, you can list out your concerns, but it's not fair that if you had your grievances in the back seat and he started a conversation, now you're pulling all of your stuff from the back seat and throwing it on him, and now you can't even address what he said. That is called deflection, and that is called running from accountability, ladies. It's not the end of the world. Our husbands don't want to hurt our feelings, and a lot of times we accuse them of making us walk on eggshells, but we're the ones who make them walk on eggshells, and we have to stop it if we want to have healthy relationships, and if we want to be fair, and if we want to continue to have these men be in love with us and be affectionate towards us. A lot of times their indifference comes up because of the way that we start to behave. So I guess that's your challenge for today.
These recommendations is not just for wives either, but fellas, this is the point in the video where you send this to that one girl in your life so you guys can sit down later on tonight to have a conversation in regards to the content, because I already know it's been on your mind. So this is an easy way to start that conversation. Let's go.
Ladies, I was the type of woman that was stuck in my ways, right? Same type of arguments, same type of guys. They wasn't expressing themselves to me during conversations, thinking they all on BS or playing games. They wasn't fighting for my attention. They barely did things I needed or wanted, right? And then I realized, is it all men ain't shit, or am I being the same woman to different men? And not only that, how can a man lead me or his love grow for me if I'm not willing to change? Now, before y'all say I'm not changing for nobody, hear me out right quick, okay? When I started speaking softer with less attitude, it changed the way men communicate with me. When I started listening and showing more respect, they wanted more of my attention. When I started showing appreciation, it motivated them to want to do more things for me. And another thing, when our man want us to do certain things or follow his rules, us and our homegirls be saying he doing too much or he controlling.
He's narcissistic.
I had to learn the difference between a man that's trying to control me and a man that's trying to provide me with structure by providing leadership, financial responsibilities, reassurances, chivalry, faithfulness, and adding comfort to my femininity. Yeah. So if he's displaying all those actions for me in exchange for my reaction to be submissive, then change is okay.
Unpopular opinion. A lot of women are not as emotionally mature as they claim to be, or that they've convinced you that they are. Because emotional maturity is the ability to understand, manage, and express your feelings and your emotions in a healthy way inside of your relationship whenever you're facing challenges, especially whenever you're mad. And whenever most women get upset, the only feeling that they know how to express in that moment is anger. Self-awareness leaves the building. Self-regulation is gone. Empathy is not there. Accountability never even enters at all. We ain't going to even mention that word. That's going to make them a little bit madder. And they no longer know how to communicate in a healthy manner. But they're emotionally mature. But that's not something that can just come and go. Because when you're emotionally mature, you're very mindful of your emotions and you're mature enough to handle them. Think about it.
You know, a big issue I see with a lot of women, especially women who say they want to be wives. As a matter of fact, I'm only speaking to women who say they want to be wives. So if you do not want to be a wife, if you want to be a hot girl for the rest of your life, baby, you can keep on scrolling. Okay. But see, these type of women, y'all are not teaching, especially when it comes to love and relationships, especially when it comes to listening to a man. Y'all are not teachable. And hey, Nicole, why do you say that? Because I am a life coach. I am certified in love and relationships, finances, and self-development. I have been doing so for close to a decade. Baby, when I said I have seen it all and I have heard it all, please believe me. And I want to be very clear. When I say that you're unwilling to listen to a man, I'm not talking about a random man. I'm not talking about a man on these podcasts with the mics. I'm talking about the man that you say that you want to be with. I'm talking about the man that you're spending time with. I'm talking about the man that you are opening your legs for. Y'all don't want to listen to him, right? Because you're not going to listen to no man, and no man can't tell you what to do. Okay. No problem. Because it bewilders me that you are willing to give yourself to someone, that you are willing to give your body to someone, that you are willing to exchange bodily fluids with someone who, if he says to you, baby, you know what? Can you cook dinner for me tonight? And I like my dinner cooked like this. You're going to have a problem with it. Let's make this make sense. And the crazier part is these women will not listen to the man that they chose and the man that they say they want to be with, but they will listen to their miserable ass friends who are in the same boat, in the same predicament as they are. And they'll sit around and be girls with their friends who have absolutely nothing, just like they do. I'm not just talking about not having a man. I'm talking about not having anything that they say they want out of life. You cannot say that you want to be a wife, especially when you're talking about you want that soft life and you want to be taken care of. You can't say that you want to be a wife and you're unwilling to do wifely things. And also the problem with a lot of y'all is that y'all don't really want to be a wife. You want to be married. So simple as I could put it. You want a healthy relationship? You want a good man? You want happiness? Find you a leader, first and foremost, because some of y'all be picking the men from the bottom of the barrel, okay? And 2, be teachable. Be amicable. Otherwise, be lonely or be with toxic men.
I don't know who needs to hear this, but it's okay to like your man. It's okay not to hate all men. It's okay to want to take care of him. It's okay to do nice things for him. It's okay to uplift his name in public instead of tearing him down in front of all your girlfriends. It's okay to be obsessed with him. It's okay to want to be around him 24/7. It's okay to want to treat him with respect. It's okay that you don't nag him and mother him and just treat him like a wife. Just be prepared to be called anti-women, a pick-me, and misogynistic for having a healthy relationship and loving your future husband.
And that's where we're going to end the conversation here today. I find it so interesting that on that portion of the internet, speaking positively in regards to manhood, masculinity is often seen as an indictment of being misogynistic, even if you are a woman. It's absolutely incredible to me. But that's the programming, right? And if you think through and trace where it comes from, you begin to understand why it's being pushed. All you got to do is understand the money, and then you begin to understand the profitability of the division as opposed to the union or the join. All right, guys, that's why I'm going to leave this video here today. Hopefully this promoted a lot of dope discussions amongst you and those that are in your life. Tell me which part of the video resonated with you the most. I'm sure this one's going to get a lot of comments, so let's see. All right. And last but not least, until next time, I'll see y'all soon. Peace.
You don't wanna see me get vexed. Bars on your phone, tell a man you can't jet. The big the ones who can't stretch. Breaking the neck when we in the car next. You don't wanna see me get vexed. Bars on your phone, tell a man you can't jet. The big the ones who can't stretch. Breaking the neck when we in the car next. That bar, need a fibrillation ASAP. Get boxed with a straight gap. I'm reminded of mind state they lack. Every time that they climb, we go way back. All they wanna be is just